first worldwide broadcast of the Kentucky Oldham County Fiscal Court. Happy to have you here today, and as you'll see soon that we're operating with new technology. We're keeping our fingers crossed. We've done our best to try to practice this and to make sure that this technology works, and we hope that all of you will stay with us today during our fiscal court meeting, which will be broadcast on Facebook Live and on our county cable channel. That's 184. So now I'm sitting here in the fiscal courtroom, essentially by myself, although we have a couple of staff members here. There are no magistrates in the courtroom. County Attorney John Carter is here with me. The magistrates are all located remotely from their homes via their cell phones on Zoom. So now I'd like to ask everyone who is able at home or in the room here to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of
America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, justice for all.
For all.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to ask the clerk, first of all, to approve Tina Schaaf to be our clerk today. Our normal clerk is not able to be with us, Sheila Fair. So with the assent of everyone, I'll approve Tina Schaaf to be our clerk for today.
So moved.
There's a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now, Tina, will you please call the roll?
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Harrison.
Here.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Here.
Magistrate Helms.
Here.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Here.
Magistrate Dye.
Here.
Magistrate Logston.
Present.
Judge Vogel.
Here. Having all members of the fiscal court present, this meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Are there any additions? Yeah, there is one deletion that would be under contract agreements and resolutions, item G. All right, hearing no other comments, all in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, I don't know, Tina, were you prepared to read the minutes from our last meeting or not? Okay, I think I intended to dispense with them, but we hadn't talked about it. So our minutes can be found on the fiscal court website, as well as our agenda, Oldham County Fiscal Court. Go under fiscal court once you get on the website, and you'll find our agenda and minutes from each of our meetings. The first item today that we have is a bid opening for paving jobs in the county in Pee Wee Valley, LaGrange, and Crestwood. So we have a lot of envelopes that are here. So I'm going to be assisted by our county treasurer, Melissa Horn. And then once we open these bids, Melissa is going to open the bids and then hand them to me, and I'll read them out loud. Then we'll give them to our county engineer, Jim Silliman, and we hope to be able to award these bids by the end of this meeting. So you might have to come a little bit closer there. All right. Pardon? Yeah. All right. The first bid here is from ADC Paving of Louisville. It's for $443,403.94.
Judge, it is for group one.
Yes, it's group one.
Could I have the number again?
$443,403.94.
Thank you.
The next bid is from Flynn Brothers. Bid not to exceed $335,101. third bid is from Hall Contracting, $353,555.25. The fourth bid is Libs Paving from Floyd's Knobs, Indiana, $269,451.59. Next bid is from Louisville Paving, $322,358.91. Mack Construction and Excavating of New Albany, $365,354.25. Riverside Paving and Contracting, $362,631. Final one in this group is from Wingham Paving, $330,000, 663.
600, Judge.
I'll do that
600.
one. I'll do that one again, $330,663.15. Now, I believe I'm going to give these to our county engineer, Jim Sullivan, who's here. Jim will examine these bids.
Group 2, which is Pee Wee.
All right, group 2 involves Pee Wee Valley only. This first one, ADC Paving, $71,470.64.
Judge,
Yes, ma'am.
did we lose Magistrate Dye?
I guess it did. All right. Anybody know anything? All right, well, I'll assume we're going to go on with the bids here. Flynn Brothers, this is Pee Wee Valley, $47,242. Hall Contracting, $50,836.25.
One more time, Judge, I'm sorry.
Hall Contracting. Did you get that one?
Yeah, what's the amount? I'm sorry, 50,000.
Sorry, just a second.
56.
It's $50,836.25.
Thank you.
Libs Paving, $41,811.07. Louisville Paving and Construction, $42,081.74. Mack Construction, $49,990.50. Riverside Paving, $59,553.
I'm sorry, one more time. I apologize.
No problem. $59,553. And our final bid, the Pee Wee Valley work, is from Wingham, $50,712.15.
Magistrate Dye's had a power outage at his house. That's why he's not on.
Group 3,
Group 3 now.
LaGrange. City of
This is the city of LaGrange. ADC Paving, $136,927.56. Flynn Brothers, $132,762. Hall Contracting, $99,997.80. Libs Paving, $87,513.30. Louisville Paving and Construction, $82,166.28. Mac Construction, $95,917.50. Riverside Paving, $102,713.94. And the final bid for the LaGrange work is from Wingham, $93,786. All right, we're getting a pretty good work out here, and we're up to Group 4, our final. This will be Crestwood work. EDC Paving, $152,770.55. Flynn Brothers, $132,455. Hall Contracting, $102,908. Libs Paving, $87,461.75. I think we note Magistrate Dye has been able to get his energy system back on and has returned to the meeting. Louisville Paving and Construction, $89,826.59. Riverside Paving, $108,600. And the final bid for Crestwood is Wingham Paving, $105,509. Thank all of the firms that bid on this work. We appreciate your interest in Oldham County, and we'll look forward to trying to award these bids by the end of the meeting if possible. The next item on our agenda today has to do with the city or county administration, I should say. And that are the bills. We pay the bills every 2 weeks at fiscal court, and we have them here. The magistrates have all had them for several days to look through them. Your motion to accept paying the bills.
Judge, I'll make a motion, we accept the bills.
Second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any discussion or question on anything in the bills? Magistrate Hawkins.
I have a question regarding the walkway at the police department. My question is, it looks like about 8,000 went to a steel company this time, but what is the total cost of that ramp? If anybody knows that, and is it completed?
Yeah, the ramp is completed. It was, I don't know the total cost. It was, a lot of it was done by our Parks Department work down there with inmates. And so it's kind of hard to quantify exactly. I guess we could find out what the cost of the cement was and the framework that was put up, but I can't answer that question right this second. But the purpose of the sidewalk and the stairs obviously is to maintain safety between the two police administration buildings. We have a downward angle there, and it didn't happen this winter, but many times we get rain and freezing ice, and we wouldn't want anybody to be going down that sidewalk and take a tumble. So the fence was, the railing was put up to make sure that there was something for anybody to hold on to or grab onto if needed.
Okay, thank
Judge,
you.
Pardon? Okay.
Yep.
Any other
Judge,
questions?
this is Albert Harrison.
Yes, I didn't say it at the beginning of the meeting, but if anybody would like to comment, please raise your hand so we don't get two people speaking at once. Go ahead, Albert. Go ahead.
Yes, I think we need to amend the motion. You asked for a motion to accept and to pay the bills, and the motion was to accept. So do we need to make another motion to pay them or just amend the first motion?
Mr. Carter?
I think the motion was okay. I don't remember what the motion was actually.
All
But
right.
it should be to pay the bill.
Judge, I'll amend my motion and make them payable also.
Okay. Well, that'll
Thank
clear
you.
up any confusion. So, all right. The motion was to accept and pay the bills. We had a first, and who seconded? Mr. Tice, did you do that? Who was our
No,
second?
it wasn't me, but I will.
Somebody did.
We had Logston and Likens.
Oh, okay. You accept that, Brent?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now we're up to the next item here, and that has to do with the surplus property. We have a animal control vehicle that we think it's outlived its usefulness for our purposes here. It's a 2000 Ford Ranger. It was purchased in 2005, and it has 134,000 miles on the odometer. We're going to surplus that with intent to sell at a public auction. So is there a motion to go forward with that?
Judge, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion about it? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The next item here on the agenda is the detention center budget presentation. And we have Mike Simpson with us. You see him on my screen in the bottom row, far right. And Mike, welcome. And why don't you go ahead and brief the court on the budget presentation.
Say it again, Judge. He just came in.
Okay, Mike, are you able to hear me?
I can now, Judge. Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, sure. All right, you're up with your presentation. Go ahead.
Okay. I know this, guys, is so different from years past. We haven't really had a chance to meet with the Finance Committee, but just for back history, everybody knows that this is for presentation only. It's not for adoption. I have been working with Melissa, working on the numbers, Judge, and I did have a phone call this morning with Magistrate Tice. So he called me. We talked about some items, from that standpoint. Hopefully everybody has a copy of the proposed budget for 2020-21 in front of them. And again, working with Melissa and, Judge, with our revenue side, there is a little bit different here in the last couple of weeks, which we know what we've been facing. But overall, we've had through 9 months, we've done really well. As far as on the revenue side, we were meeting our expectations, obviously, and exceeding those. So with that being said, not going into a lot of, I'll just like to answer questions. If anybody has a direct question, Judge, I'll be glad to answer it.
All right. Well, this is an unusual meeting. People may be watching at home or on channel 184, and we have an entire series of numbers here in front of us that
Okay.
can't be seen from home.
Okay.
I'd like to say, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that we are projecting to receive about $816,000 more in the revenue for this fiscal year. than what we had projected. Is that correct?
That is correct, Judge. And what that really translates to, you know, when we set up our current operational budget, we had budgeted from the general fund about $410,000 to be transferred. Because of the effort and what we've been able to do, if those projections hold true for the balance of this budget cycle, obviously there will not be a 410,000 transfer number. And we will have about 400,000. You're exactly right. On top of that. So, so those numbers obviously have been, you know, the number one thing that I shared with the court June of 2019, when we signed the additional federal contract out of the state of Indianapolis. That is what's carried us to where we are today. Our immigration contract is held pretty much true to form. Our federal contract out of Louisville, same thing. It's pretty much ran its numbers, what we thought it was going to do. And then obviously the new contract, which still we've not even been a full year with, has really changed the dynamics.
Right. So just to interpret that for anybody who's listening, we expect to take in a little over $5 million in revenue for the jail in this fiscal year, and we expect our expenses to be just around a little over $4 million. So there's $1 million swing or $800,000 swing there. That's to the good. In prior times, before we built the jail, we would be on the losing end of anywhere from $600,000 to $800,000 a year. But now we built a larger jail to leverage more people being overseen by a few more people, and it's helped us to turn the entire thing around. Does any magistrate have any questions here besides me?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike Logston.
Mike, this is Michael Logston. How are you doing?
I'm good, Michael. Go ahead.
Thank you for your turning in the budget. It looks great. And thank you for making the county some money on that on side. But my question, I guess, in the rest of the world is, when you bring in a prisoner now, are you putting them in any kind of special cell for 5 or 6 days to make sure they don't bring in any kind of virus or anything? Or how are y'all working that?
Mike, we have really stepped up our efforts, as many jails across the state have done. Our protocol and procedures have changed completely. So let me give you the brief description on that. We met with our district judges, our circuit judge, a representative from our circuit judge, and talked about changing of the procedures. So we started here on the local level. We have weekly meetings through the Department of Corrections. Had one again this morning. So we're constantly getting updates on numbers, procedures. But what we've done here, and starting with on any new arrest, the inmate or the new intake stays in our Sally Port. We do not allow them to step through the next door into any part of the jail until that person's been triaged, basically triaged by our medical department. Now that consists of taking their temperature, checking them for some other vital signs, and then obviously asking them some basic questions from that standpoint. Once they clear our medical department, then we take possession. We will process that person in. The second part of that, if that individual is not able to be released immediately based on some things that we've worked out through our district judges, they will be put in. We have 2 10-person medical isolation cells. So if a person's arrested, unable to make bond, we put them in there for a minimum of 14 days. During that 14-day period, they are checked on by our medical department every day. So after the 14-day, if that inmate shows no symptoms, no problems, no issues, and they have not been able to post their bond, then we will classify them under normal conditions and put them into general population. So that's on the front end of some of the things that we've been doing, Mike. The other things with my staff, I will tell you this. Judge mentioned something about on the revenue side. I'd like to share this with the court and obviously anyone else that may be watching. If we were not in this jail dealing with this particular issue, we would be in a dire straits. I'll be honest with you. The building, because of our isolation cells that we built into this new facility, is paying dividends 10 times over. Our 2 medical isolation cells that we put in our new jail, it has separate air, negative airflow, which is a separate ventilation system where the inmates that go into those 2 cells breathe a totally different airflow. So again, having this new building has been a godsend, I'll tell you, for us to be able to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. Some of the other things that we've changed internally, we've shut down all other people coming into our jail. No visitation, no attorneys. We're doing everything video conferencing, video arraignment, or via a dedicated phone line that if any attorney needs to communicate with their client. So we're doing those types of things. From a staffing issue, we have been blessed with some people here locally in Oldham County that have made some of the masks that we're now using. And we've set some different protocol concerning our staff. When they go out on the floor, when they leave our booking area, I'm talking about my staff, because in our booking area, there are no inmates ever in that area. So when our staff leave our booking area to go out on the floor, they immediately must put their mask on and gloves. So we are trying to minimize the possibility of the virus getting inside our jail. Something else that we have done, we cleared this with the Department of Corrections. Normal Kentucky jail standards, inside your jail, you are required to make cell checks and rounds and go into the cells every hour. What we've done now is we've instructed our staff, and we got this cleared through the Department of Corrections. We're not going into the cells at all unless it's absolutely necessary. We're doing visual checks via our cameras, or as one of my floor officers are making rounds, they were visually through the glass. So we're minimizing my staff going in. We're minimizing the movement of the inmates. If they're going to even outside rec, they go only with their existing cell. So we have put so many procedures in place, changed our normal routine. And I will share this with you. We've all heard the term shelter in place. Yesterday, we got some updated numbers from the Department of Corrections for the jail system across the state of Kentucky. Sheltering in place, inmates are truly sheltering in place. Unfortunately, we have 3 staff members that we're known across the state of Kentucky, jail staff working in the jails, that have tested positive. We've had 0 inmates test positive. We've had the numbers that were shared with us yesterday. We have 21 staff across the state of Kentucky that are quarantined. We had 3 inmates quarantined. So we know what all this that we've talked about, it actually works. And the inmate population is the perfect example of being quarantined, sheltered in place, because we're minimizing every effort that we're putting forward to keep the virus not coming into our jail.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other magistrate Howells?
Yes, Judge, I have a question.
Okay.
Mike, I want to get back to this budget for just a second.
Yes, sir.
So at the end of this year, projected at this fiscal year, what did you say that your figure, your revenue line would be?
Well, the projections, and Bob, this was through January. Okay, so we've actually had, I think what's in front of you, it should read that in January 31st of 2020. So those projections do not include February, and we just closed out March, but through January, the projection for revenue is 5,172,885.
Okay, so then and then on your expense side, you got 5,091. Correct?
Say that again, Bob. I'm sorry.
On the expense side, you have 5,091,382.
But that's what the projected is for the new budget. Now,
Yeah.
so yes.
Okay, that's what I want to get clear. Now, next thing, you're not working any of your outside inmates. You're your worker bee, so to speak.
That is correct.
The state's released a lot of people. Do you feel like that we're going to be short on getting those people in the future?
Bob, this actually came up. I called Melissa and brought this up, talking about, and we all know we've kept up with that. You're exactly right. The early release, we've had to, the Department of Corrections through the Department of Justice has asked all the jails to go back and triage your existing state inmates. And if any of those particular state inmates were on the higher end of medical concerns, then they were going to reevaluate inmates with other types of ailments, not directly related to the virus, but would they be released? Okay, we only had 2 of our 70 something state inmates that we had. We only submitted 2 that met that criteria of possible early release. Now, we're also, if you've kept up with it, it's been in the news, the governor's talked about it, commuting inmates that might be serving out in the next 3 to 6 months. Okay. So obviously, and this is why I brought it up, Melissa and I had some dialogue. We had some discussion about this on those projections that we were doing at the end of 7 months and even going into 8 months. That was a little bit prior to some of these particular potential releases. So it could have a negative response. What we don't know, we still have April, May, and June of this budget cycle. We could see an uptick, a change of those types of releases. We could see obviously an overall improvement with dealing with the virus. So maybe by then we might have a different idea, Bob, on what these numbers are. I think the bottom line is simply this, guys. Whatever we choose to adopt, and I know this is just for presentation, and I believe the second week in June is when I think you guys need to send it to Frankfurt for the final budget approval. We can obviously, I think we have to be open-minded to be ready to adjust if we need to. But there's no doubt it could have a negative effect, potential negative effect on the revenue. Things have slowed down. Today, I'll share with you today, we have 255 inmates. Just 45 days ago, we were 312, 320. So we had 255 in here today. Out of county inmates, total of 21. That's Trimble and Henry. Typically on the out of county, we were running closer to 32 to 35. So that's down. We only have 11 Oldham County inmates in here in this jail. We still have today 72 state, and we still have 142 federal inmates. We're not too far off some numbers that we were hitting just a couple of months ago, but it has gone down. Mm-hmm. And so I think we just need to be open-minded on what we do here today. and then keep our finger on the pulse, and let's see where it takes us.
So do you, with, you've got a lot of years in corrections, but this is something that you haven't ever seen, I wouldn't think.
It has been, right.
In talking with your people in corrections in Frankfurt, I'm concerned with what they're doing now with your C and D, your misdemeanor people, that all of a sudden we're going to create a new normal and those inmates are going to literally go away. You see that? Because they want to reduce the jail population. This is one way they can do it.
And Bob, again, what we don't know is really at this moment is what we don't know. Now, what we can anticipate, could it happen? Yes. And that's why I brought it up to Melissa. That's why I wanted to talk about it. It could happen. What the other thing that we don't know, repeat offenders. And, if you talk to people that are on the law enforcement side of this, all of these early releases, wow, my son's a police officer, and I hear it from him, how not necessarily a good thing that this is what we're doing, the state is doing. So here's another part, what we don't know is what we don't know, all of these early releases, what percentage of them are going to reoffend? There's a possibility there, Bob, that may happen. Now, that means if they reoffend, if they come back in initially, if it's a felony charge, until
Right.
there's a process. We all know what that process is. So, guys, and ladies, I'm sorry, Steph, I keep saying guys, I apologize.
No worries.
But I do think we need to be aware of the possibility. But I'm after talking with Melissa, I think if we go another April, May, look at it the 1st of June, prior to you guys sending the final draft, then I think we could maybe make some adjustments if needed.
All right, thank you.
Magistrate Hounds.
Yes, thanks, Mike. Look, going through this budget, I guess you kind of answered one of my questions, and that was, I see the local contractors in other counties. You're foreseeing that to go down in the future?
As far as you're talking about on the inmates?
Yes.
Yes. And the main reason, Chris, one of the main reasons is, there's been a lot of, prior to the virus issue, Chris, there's been a lot of issues within the AOC and early releases, getting people out of the jails across the state. So that was already in kind of running its path prior to the virus. So, and we took those numbers and we just, we ran them and did our projections. I think the positive thing, we don't want to over project on the revenue, nor do we want to we want to get somewhere in the middle, because if we project and we exceed those projections, we're all going to feel good about it, if that makes sense, Chris. But I will tell you this, as we get through this, I do believe that we will rebound from it. There's been a slow, everything slowed up from ICE. Everything has slowed up on the federal side, but that's because of what we're dealing with. I do believe when we get through this, now, when is that going to happen, Chris? I think that's the bigger question here, is when is it going to turn around, and when are we going to get back to some sense of being just normal across the board? So again, whatever we choose, whatever you guys are comfortable with, whatever we choose to adopt today or over the next 30 days, I think we're all going to be okay with it. I just think we need to be cautious. Let's continue to watch it. The next April and May especially may give us a better path to follow on what those final numbers should be.
With I guess there's no opportunity to backfill with more state inmates with more federal inmates because of what's going on.
Well, it could be, Chris, and that's really what we have done this past year, or almost a year now. When certain numbers went down, oh yeah, we were right on the phone. and that contract with, again, going back to Indianapolis, I've got 70 still, even today, still have 70 something federal inmates from Indiana. And prior, it was amazing. We had a conversation with Indy probably middle of January. They actually called us and said, hey, what is your max that you can offer us? Is there a maximum number that we could deal with? And this was just out of the state of Indiana. And we told them, because they were gearing up to potentially send us even more than what we were normally carrying. Of course, then again, everything shut down, with the virus. So now, is that going to immediately turn around? I don't know what the turnaround time is going to take, Chris, for it to go back. But I do think that it will. This entire nation, our states focus on so many different things, but I do think when immigration fires back up again and starts, focusing on that particular part of their job and responsibility, I think that's going to have a direct effect on the federal inmate count going back up. And very easily. So if a state inmate goes away, Chris, we're going to make every effort to get a federal inmate in here.
Okay, and then one last question. I'm assuming that you're still in the same boat when we talked the last time about employee count. I see you got a lot of money in overtime, and is that to backfill employees, or can you elaborate on that a little bit for us?
On that, in part, and actually that was a similar question that I was talking with Magistrate Tice. We talked about, when we're working more, it has a direct relation to that additional revenue that we've been generating over the last 8 months. So it's kind of like that kid, we're spending a little bit more, but the benefit is outweighing. We're projecting, if you look at the overtime in our current budget, what we actually budgeted for our current budget, Chris, was 650, and I think we're projecting 211. So we're almost dead on that number. But leading into, that for the next budget cycle. Now, if that doesn't happen, let's say the federal count, we don't make a big turnaround here, then we're not going to be spending the overtime money that we have spent over the last 7 to 8 months, because it's all direct, it's connected.
Okay.
If there's more need on the front end, yeah, we've got to go. We're providing the service, but we're gonna get our money back, a couple times over.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike. Does anyone else have any question on this presentation? Seeing none. Thank you, Mike, for presenting this, and I hope our public has learned a little bit about the jail operation. It's easily misunderstood. We don't have 300 Oldham County prisoners, but we need a large number of prisoners to try to keep the costs down as low as we can for the people of Oldham County. And this has been a very successful year, and we have come out not having to pay anything to have our Oldham County prisoners there. So that's a real big advantage. And
it is, Judge. And
appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Judge, and thank you, members of court. I appreciate it.
I heard somebody mention just a minute ago during this presentation here that somebody was making some masks and they had given them to the jail personnel, I believe. Is that correct? Did you say that?
That is correct, Judge. And we've had 2 different groups that have reached out to us, and we've actually, what I did internally, they asked for no money, but we've been able to ask some of my staff, and we've donated some money, and we've given it back to those groups, which well-deserved, and that's been a plus for us. We also have reached out to a couple of our vendors. We were in a little bit better shape. We're marginally on a couple of supply items, but we were so well stocked because the number one thing, Judge, I know this virus is what it is, but working in this environment, we've dealt with the AIDS virus. We have dealt with hepatitis C, infectious diseases. That just comes with working in this environment. So we were so better prepared. The building itself has been, as I said earlier, what a blessing. But we were so far ahead of this in certain types of supplies. Now there's some things that we've run out, but we're doing well as we speak. But because of the universal infectious diseases that you have to deal with, we've been dealing with those things for years. And
all right. Well, the reason I brought that up is that the governor yesterday put out a statewide call to all counties asking if anyone in the county could help them with the manufacture of coveralls, face shields, respirators, safety goggles, surgical masks, surgical gloves, sanitizing wipes, and disinfectant spray, and hand sanitizer. We're fortunate in Oldham County that Kentucky Artisan Distilleries in Crestwood has switched its production line and is making hand sanitizer available. But if there's anyone within the sound of my voice that is able to help produce other things on a large scale, please give the Team Kentucky a call. You can email me, and I'll give you the phone number and address. We're all trying to, support the effort across the state to make protective gear as available as it can possibly be. So,
Judge, I have one more thing, if I could. Also, later on the agenda, I think we have the Calwell Food
yes.
contract. Since I'm on now, would you be okay if we amend the meeting so we can maybe touch base on that?
Anybody have an objection to going to that now? Go right ahead. I think we're fine.
Well, there was one thing that took place, and I provided Melissa with the original copy of the original. We received it through the mail. Calwell is increasing their contract, and I should have had that letter right in front of me. I think it's a 3% increase, Judge.
I thought it was
2.5.
2.5. I apologize. 2.5. So I saw that it was on the agenda for today. I didn't know if anybody needed to ask me anything or combination myself or Melissa, but I appreciate you moving it up on the agenda.
sure. Is there a motion that what is it? Is it 2.5 or 3? Which one?
I think it's 2.5 now.
It's
that you
2.5.
say that.
Half is what I recall here. Is there a motion that we allow Kelwell Foods to increase their contract price by 2.5?
I make
I'll
the
make that
motion.
motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion on it?
Yes, Mike, I got a question for you.
Okay.
2.5% in the letter, I believe it said it's the first time they went up in 2 years.
I think that was right. I think that's correct, Bob. I think the last time that we had any increase with them was right before we left the old jail, because we've been here now for almost 2.
Right. And when's their contract
actually,
expire? When does that contract run out, or is it
Melissa, do you have that in front of you? I apologize. I should have pulled mine. I didn't have my copy in front of me.
it's 5 years, isn't it?
Bobby, I'm thinking it was 4, or I apologize.
Well, we know it's more than 2. Let's move on from there.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm sure you've looked at it, but I just want to make sure everybody understands. This 2.5% is within the contractual agreement, correct?
It should be, yes, sir.
Then I will need the answer to that.
All right. Anybody else have any questions on this? And what we're doing, Magistrate Hawkins doing, I'm asking each person to raise their hand to be called on, so we don't have more than one time. Magistrate Hawkins.
Do you know approximately annually how much this increase will be financially, Mike?
Yeah. So if you go back, if you've got a copy of the budget in front of you, if you go on the expense side and go down to obviously the line item, it's 425, the food line item. Do you see that one?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can see what our current this year's budget versus And Melissa, I'm assuming that you factored in the 2.5. Is that correct?
Yes, she has.
So,
Gotcha.
so you can kind of see, so it's approximately about $10,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go for it, but I do want to confirm the 2.5% before we,
The letter says 2.5%.
but is that within the contractual agreement?
Okay.
We'll find, Bob, we can find out.
Well, let's just say we'll go for this not to exceed 2.5%. We can move on.
Well, that wasn't the motion. It's not to exceed 2.5. The motion was to accept the,
Okay,
increase.
I'll amend my motion to approve this Kelwell contract with the increase not to exceed 2.5%.
Ben Dye, the original motion maker. Shayatina. Was Ben
Judge,
Dye the original motion maker?
Your second, whoever seconded the motion will have to withdraw their second also.
He made the motion.
I have Di and Tice. I'm not sure
Okay.
if Tice seconded.
Magistrate Tice, is that adjustment acceptable to you?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, all right. All right, now the motion is that the contract be approved as long as it's within the specified guidelines of the contract as approved earlier. The 2.5. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. If it turns out not to be, we'll come back and revisit this.
Okay. All right. Well, again, Judge, thank you, and thank the members of court.
All right, thank you, and I thank your staff for everything you're doing to keep the staff safe and the population at the jail safe. We definitely need these people back helping us, or we don't have as many people on the street working as we had before. When we had inmates, our recycling centers had to come to a halt. Parks Department and maintenance and other areas have not been able to function as effectively as we did when roads, when we had the assistance of the Class D inmates. And for those who are watching, Class D inmates are non-violent sort of people that are incarcerated for offenses that were not endangering other people, but were bouncing checks and things like that. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Judge, very much. Everybody be safe.
Right. Thank you.
Mm.
The next item here is a bid opening for, this is tile floor bids for the courthouse or fiscal court building? Fiscal court building. Right.
Where are these tile floors going, Judge?
Pardon?
Where are these tile floors being installed?
Planning and zoning department. And doesn't mean, we're in a strange situation here where we have to, life has to go on. We keep living, we keep making budgets. So we're going to be, finishing our budget here soon, submitting it to the state. But many people are unemployed, and circumstances are such out in the public is that we're going to have to go forward with what we have to go forward with, but certain things we'll be able to hold up on and not do until the coast is clear. It's a double-edged sword because people who are actually working want to continue working and have something to do. If no one orders anything, then they won't have anything to do. But on the other hand, we realize that many people are laid off and circumstances are hard for people in the community across a wide spectrum. And so we aren't going to plow forward with just spending money as if nothing had happened out there or was occurring. So each decision will be made and weighed carefully. What we need to do and have to do, we'll go forward with. What we can put off, I believe we should. It'd be my opinion. All right, here we go for, this is for bids that were requested before this happened for redoing some of the flooring and planning and zoning to remove existing carpet, prep the floor for new tile, and install a new look down there in the reception area and so forth. It's from American Tile Company on Payne Street in Louisville. The bid was $5,250. Rodney, okay. Is Rodney here? I can't see him where I'm sitting. Go ahead and take that right there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Judge,
Okay, pardon? Magistrate Logston,
we only received one bid for that?
that was it.
Wow, that's hard to believe. There's a lot of tile workers out there.
Well, this was put out before, the virus struck, and there's, it's not a big job in the, to begin with. So sometimes if your job's not big enough, it doesn't attract too many bidders. Measure Tice.
Is this a ceramic type towel or is this a laminate type of towel or
It's a
VCT
laminate.
towel? It's a
Pardon?
VCT type of towel.
Ceramic tile.
It's ceramic.
Why are we putting down ceramic tile?
And that was going to be my next question.
Well, I can't answer that, the what's worn out down there, what they have down there, it feels worn out. And they wanted something different, and I'm not able to exactly say why that was the choice.
It would seem to me that with the way that the
Durability, I guess, was the main factor there.
luxury vinyl tile will be a superior product to the ceramic tile. You can buy a luxury vinyl tile with a 15 and 20-year warranty. It's become the premier product in my opinion, and from what I've seen out there today.
All right, well, we can take it. We've got a bid. Any bid is just a bid. It's not a guaranteed sale. We'll take a look at it. If someone feels they have more expertise or has some better product to suggest that we rebid for, then we'll do that. Magistrate Tice.
Is this for the area right as you come in their door or from the lobby, or is how much tile are we talking about, or VCT, or versus the, we're still leaving carpet in most of the area. Is that true?
Rodney, will you go down to Kevin's office and get on? So I'm going to postpone Rodney here. I can't coordinate his response with your questions through this technology. So we're going to send him down to a telephone where he can get his picture on here and he can answer the questions. Okay. Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. I was just wondering, is this something that shouldn't have gone through the building committee, maybe?
I'm not sure. Maybe it will now. Magistrate Likens, did you all look at this at all?
No, that's the first I've heard of it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wait till Rodney gets on here and then we can look at this further. Okay. The next, let's go on here for a minute. The contract agreements and resolutions, deed of conveyance. All right. You've got that in your packet here. This is a transfer of this property to of the train depot on Main Street Range, transferring it from Fiscal Court to the city of LaGrange. The agreement has been worked out with the state of Kentucky. There's no that they had some string attached to it, for a number of years, but they've signed off on it. Transportation Cabinet has no problem with us transferring it. We're able to transfer from one public agency to another. It's been a questionable item with the fiscal court for a number of years to maintain and own this property. It seems to fit a whole lot better with the downtown LaGrange and LaGrange Tourism Board than it does us at this point. So you have it in front of you. Is there a motion that we transfer the railroad depot property to the city of LaGrange. Magistrate
That
Tice.
motion, Judge.
I'd like to make that motion, and I think in the first place that the depot, we acquired it through a grant. So at no point in time was the county ever out any money. And I agree with you, Judge. It seems to fit and can fit the plans of LaGrange much better than ourselves. So I think it's a good move, and I make that motion.
I'll second.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Is there any discussion about that? Magistrate Hans?
I'm just going to make an assumption since we didn't get the cover sheets that John Carter has reviewed this and he's okay with it.
All right, John has approved that.
Yeah. Yes, Travis Combs looked at it.
Yeah. Was approved by the county attorney's office, right? Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, and all in favor of transferring the railroad depots, Brett Likens?
No, I'm voting.
Right, you're getting your vote in before, okay. All in favor of transferring, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. LaGrange gets this, and I know they're going to do a good job with it. And the people who are operating the depot are continuing to try to raise the level of everything there. It's Bob did for many years, and Bob had to give it up because of circumstance. People have taken over. Anyone opposed? Good job, and I know they'll work well with the city of LaGrange. Rodney Gabbard, our maintenance director, is now online with us here. It says Jay Urban for his name, but he's really Rodney. All right, down in the bottom row, right? All right, now, Rodney, let's go through this bid for that department. Be heard.
There's feedback happening down there when Rodney or Jim came on. I don't know if somebody's got a.
I'm in Jim's office.
Okay, go ahead. Can you hear me? Rodney, can you hear me?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. They're going to work on a little bit more there. So I encourage everybody to wear a mask, but occasionally, as you see right there, you can't always make it work out exactly right.
I don't see anything that says.
All right, Rodney.
We have issues.
Rodney, we can hear you.
Mm-hmm. But there's no water. See?
Okay, well, let us know when we
I
can.
don't see anything to do.
Are you there now?
Chat, record reactions, share screen, participants, invite.
I hear
Start
you.
video,
You hear me?
Start video.
Okay, well,
Go.
Would it be appropriate just to table this
Yes.
till we go through building committee?
I've got Rodney. Go ahead with questions.
pardon me?
Go ahead with
Yes.
questions for Rodney.
All right, can you hear us now, Rodney?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, there was a question about what part of the planning and zoning floor the bid was for and the particular material to be used. So do you,
The area is where Shelley and Jennifer sit, which are the receptionists. That back area, and then the hallway directly in front of them where all the main flow of traffic is.
right? And so it's not the entire downstairs planning zoning
No.
area. It's that front entrance area, okay? There's a question about the material chosen, laminate, is that right? Or no, you said ceramic?
Yes, ceramic versus vinyl. I didn't go with vinyl because of all the workers that come in with their boots and their gravel stuck in their boots and everything. Every time they come across the vinyl tiling, they're going to scuff and scar.
All right. That Right. We do have people who don't know it. There are people who come in from construction jobs in the planning office, and many times their boots are loaded with mud or rocks or anything else they might have picked up out on the job. So we need something durable there. Mounds, you felt tile, would be more resistant to destruction, or
There are some quality luxury vinyl tile products, LVT products out there that are designed to work, I believe, in the environment in which we're speaking of. The advantage to the tile is you can put down the waterproof tile, and basically you can go in and it's easily to be cleaned. I just tried to pull up the one product that I know online, and I can't find the warranty, but I'm pretty sure that in a building that I was doing in Shelby County, they had put this product in, and I asked about the gravel and everything, and they said it wouldn't be an issue. And I believe it came with a 10 or 15-year guarantee in a commercial setting. So I can try to look for that and try to get that information to Rodney. My theory with the ceramic tile is you've got the grout to maintain, and once you can't do anything about it. I mean, I think that the luxury vinyl would be a better option, but
your mic is fading in and out there for some reason.
Sorry about that. The luxury vinyl tile might be a better product to use, but if we've done the research and we don't think it is, then I trust Rodney's recommendation.
Okay, Magistrate Tice.
Yeah, I hate to second guess the maintenance department, but I'm in the same ballpark as Chris is. I just think if you put a product down that's free floating, then if it ever has to be replaced, it can be done easily. And the ceramic towel, I just fear that we're putting down something that's outdated. You don't see much of that being done anymore. So I'd like to see it deferred. Before we do anything today, I'd like to see it deferred to the building committee.
Magistrate Likens.
Thank you, Judge. I put down luxury vinyl tile in the last 5 commercial build outs that I did last year. It is a good product.
All right. Well, why don't we, okay, Magistrate Dye.
I agree. I think we still go back to the building committee, or to the building committee. I think there's other options we could use, ceramic tile, and when you have a problem with it, it's hard to repair. You can always usually see the repair. In a lot of commercial retail situations, they're doing away with floor coverings. They're just polishing the concrete and dyeing in a certain color. Like Kroger's done a lot of that. I'm not saying that's what we should do. I think we need a little more investigation.
All right, let's, is there a motion we take, well, we've only opened the bid. We haven't agreed to buy anything from anyone.
No.
So let's send this back to we'll send this to the building committee, and the people that have other product ideas, bring them to the committee, and you can make a comparison there. Okay. Rodney, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next item here we'll do is the engineering contract for Peak Road West. You'll find that it says professional contract services. And
hey, sorry about this audio.
All right. Jim Urban can explain the contract with Palmer. Go ahead,
As
Jim.
you know, we had put out an RFP for engineering services for Peak Road. We had several respondents, and a couple of fiscal court meetings ago, we had selected Palmer Engineering as the lowest, most responsive bidder. So in front of you today is the actual contract.
We can hear you fine, Jim.
Well, you were doing fine. You were doing
Okay.
fine.
I'm back.
Okay, go ahead. You were doing fine.
What you have in front of you today is the actual contract for those services. It is a total of $45,600. And so I'm asking fiscal court to approve the judge to sign this contract.
All right, and you'll find an attachment here, attachment A.
Yes.
A Gantt chart of when this work is expected. when initially here, they were expected to be done by the end of August. Are we pushing that back a month or two now, Jim?
No, this is, this contract, we changed it to be 6 months from the time that we approve it, simply because I didn't know how we would function under the current situation. So they have a 6-month timeframe to get it approved. When they originally submitted their proposal, it was back several months ago, and that was their timeline.
Okay, well, the 6 months from now is the end of October. Or
Yes.
end of, September, something like that. So,
Yes.
all right, it might be a little bit longer than what's shown on the chart. Is the point I'm trying to make here.
Yes, that chart was not adjusted. We took the months off it actually, and but we didn't adjust the chart. So we're just giving them 6 months. It's on page, the second page under time schedule. It says the final plans and bidding documents will be completed within 6 months of notice to proceed.
Manager Greenwell, are you in favor of moving forward with this contract?
Yes, I am.
This is under road committee. Would you want to make a recommendation? Or?
I'll make a motion that we accept this contract and let you sign it with Palmer Engineering.
Okay.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded the contract with Palmer Engineering for $45,000. And
45,600, I believe.
45,600 be approved. Is there any further discussion? Magistrate Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. I notice this is labeled West Peak Road. My question is, where is East Peak Road?
It starts at the roundabout. So when we started looking at addressing and the fact that we didn't know how many lots there were going to be on each side of the street, we determined that it was best to make Peak Road into 2 pieces, west of the roundabout and east of the roundabout.
Well, what is the distance from the roundabout over to Moody Lane?
I'm not really sure. We're not building the entirety from the roundabout to Moody. I'm sorry, did you say Moody?
Yes.
It would be to LaGrange Parkway.
The roundabout would go to, well, we're calling it LaGrange Parkway.
LaGrange Parkway, sure. But what's the distance?
Ask the question again. I'm sorry, Magistrate Harrison.
What is the distance from the roundabout?
It's, and I don't have that in front of me. I think it's about
3/4 of a mile, is it?
It's not even that much, but it was in the original proposal. We put it in there. I forget.
Jim, 2,000 feet. That's what I remember from the older meeting.
Actually, Dodge said it's about 2,000 feet.
It's about that. Yeah, it's less than a half a mile, 1,800 feet, something like that.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Measured Hounds.
So some of these contracts that we've gotten lately, we award them for the original amount, and then they come back and there's an overage. Is this going to be another one of those contracts, or is this one pretty cut and dry?
No, this is a lump sum amount for the services that we're contracting, and they responded. And in the proposal, you'll see the proposed fee includes survey and topo, preliminary line and grade, right-of-way and easements, final and bid documents, and 3 meetings. So that's what we anticipated taking for them to design this roadway. It really was a very low bid.
Okay, thank you.
Very appreciated.
And it is 4/10 of a mile.
How much? 4/10.
4/10.
All right. Any other questions here? Measure die.
Yeah, I'm looking at the contract, and this goes back to the question Magistrate Hounds had. Has this been looked at by Mr. Carter?
Yes.
The other thing is, it's 45,000. It says payable to the client. As in the other half, the 2 clients, of course, are the county and the city of LaGrange. Have they approved this for them too? Because they're also a signatory on this too.
Not yet.
Not yet, because they're up for half that money.
Right.
Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you. assume they're gonna put it on their agenda maybe this week.
All right.
City Council had a meeting last night, a Zoom type meeting like this. They ran into a couple of problems and they're gonna have to repeat their meeting on Wednesday. So maybe it'll be on the agenda.
And my point is that I just want to make sure the court understands that for that $45,000 figure, the county only owes half of that.
That's correct.
That's correct.
All right, anyone else have a question? So, all right, to approve the Peak Road West contract with Palmer Engineering, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next item here, we're going to call, we've already done the Kelwell food management thing. We've, provisionally approved that, I guess. We want to go on now to the conveyance of the OSEA building where the Oldham County Authority has their.
Gift advance,
The MOU,
Yeah, right.
advanced business.
MOU with ABS.
No, we crossed that off. I crossed that off at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
Administration.
We crossed off Windstream, but not ABS. No, we crossed it off. I crossed it off again.
Okay. Windstream. We crossed off Windstream, not ABS.
Okay. All right. What are we doing here?
Memorandum of understanding between ABS and Oldham County Fiscal Court.
Packet, okay. For what?
It's for consent to control remote workstations.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make the motion that we approve this with ABS.
I'll second it.
All right. There's a $3,500 charge goes along with this, correct? Or is that wrong?
So
What's this paper here?
That's our original agreement with them,
Oh,
which is referenced in that.
okay. All right. All right.
Do we have a little explanation of what this is?
What's that?
I can explain it. Basically, what this is when, Magistrate Dye, when you and I were working on getting your Zoom hooked up and you had to give me consent to use your computer, it's our IT company, gives them the ability to, as I read it, they'll flash up on the screen. It'll say, can I log into your computer? The person answers yes or no. And I believe in this case, it's giving them access to all workstations, if I read this correctly.
That's right. All workstations. Lets them access your computer to, help get set up and maintain our service during this time. Okay, our Magistrate Hawkins, did you have a question on that?
Yes, in the agenda, it says the MOU remote access to OCD. So I understood it to be to Oldham County Dispatch. Are you saying this is for anybody in the county?
No, it is?
Yes.
Okay. It's for everybody.
Okay.
I didn't know
This be
that.
amended on the agenda?
Pardon?
Should this be amended on the agenda to say, currently the agenda says MOU remote access to OCD?
Just a second, please.
Should have read Oldham County Fiscal Court because the contract would be with.
We need to go with what the MOU says and not what the agenda says. So, we'll go with the document, not the agenda. Magistrate Hawkins.
Okay, thank you. I'm having to think of this a little bit differently now. Would the person who's on the computer be able to allow them access to their computer, or who allows Advanced Business Solutions access to?
You better go back.
the computer?
All right, Melissa is handling this, and I don't know exactly. You can't be at two places at one time, so you better. Okay, hold on a second, and
You need a producer, Judge.
we're going to be able to, okay, we're going to be able to maintain our safe distance, and Jay is going to get Melissa in just a second. We think.
They will not see her.
Okay, she's going to be seen or heard, but not seen. It's the opposite advice my mother gave me when I was a kid. Yeah.
Seen but not heard.
All right, we're going to get it done here. I think we're doing pretty good. We're still afloat here, and
You turn your mic on, you're good.
okay, go ahead, turn your mic on.
Is it not on? It's red.
You're good.
Okay, all right. All right, now Melissa's going to answer the question, Magistrate Hawkins.
Has always used from the beginning of the contract that we've had with him for our IT support, but we did not have a document to indicate that's the way they were going to access our machines. So with the project that is going on at Dispatch to upgrade their CAD system, the Kentucky State Police asked for documentation of consent control. And that's why I brought this memorandum of understanding today.
So it sounds like Advanced Business Solutions would probably have had to sign a non-disclosure. Did they sign a non-disclosure?
A non-disclosure for what, Mr. Hawkins?
In order to be able to access their computer and the secure things that would be probably included in an Oldham County Dispatch computer system.
Yes, they go through the somebody's back to help me,
NCIC.
Yeah, I see.
IC. They do fingerprinting, they go through the whole security protocols for that.
And then the police department would have to allow them access individually. Is that correct? They wouldn't be able to access it without their permission. Is that right?
ABS cannot access any computer without that owner's consent.
Thank you.
Well,
Any other questions for Melissa Horn? All right, I think we did a motion on this yet. Moved and seconded that we sign the ABS consent agreement here. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion. My vote's always aye unless I say no. I'm sitting here watching everyone else. All right, next item is now we're down to the conveyance of the Oldham County Environmental District building, which is owned by the Fiscal Court. But our proposal here today is that we turn the ownership over to the Oldham County Environmental District. They are living in the building and using it as space, but our proposal is to turn it over to them. And I'm going to ask for a motion in the second, and then we'll discuss it with Stan Clark.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Moved and seconded. All right, discussion. Stan, you want to take it from there and go forward?
Okay. Basically, what this is that for a number of years, 10 plus, we've been renting the old health department building to OSEA as an office space. And we're charging currently $1,800 a month, a rent that we haven't changed in about 10 years. And as part of the current deal with MSD, it came to light that we thought it would be a very much positive that they keep the presence in Oldham County. And as part of that, we thought if they had ownership of an office in Oldham County, it would be to everybody's advantage to keep a known office and location. The other thing is the court's cost of maintaining that building and some of the issues with that building. We've not been covering. It's been more costly than the rent that we've been received over the years due to mode and air conditioning replacements and whatnot. But in dealing with the proposal, you know, we got into discussion with MSD about several issues. And one of the issues was, well, the building and rent and whatnot. And at that time, we thought it was everybody's best interest to transfer the asset to OSEA. And that way, OSEA, you know, the Oldham County Environmental is now responsible for all costs and maintenance, anything exterior, you know, roofs, air conditioning, everything, and keep in that fiscal court. And I'm sure, I know Rodney's no longer on here, but we get out of the business of maintaining a building that have really of no use to fiscal court. You know, we actually had the building was donated to fiscal court in the 50s. And fiscal court as a need to use the building or have anything to do with the building. We have no use for the building. It's just excess. And we thought as part of this deal, it was a good way to, if the MSD deal goes through on June 30th as contemplated, it is a way to keep an office in Oldham County and keep things as they are.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Clark here? Magistrate Hawkins.
I'll ask the question that's been asked before. Has Mr. Carter seen this and signed off on it?
Yes, he has. It's with all that's going on. Before I sent it to anybody, including the judge, I sent the proposal and agreement that the agreement to John Carter, who responded back that he was fine with it. I sent him a copy of the KRS that allows us to do this in the format and has the requirements to make sure that the agreement included all the requirements of the KRS, which is 670802. And he has signed off and approved it.
And then Horace, has it gone through the last OSEA meeting for
No.
Horace to sign off on it as well?
No, Horace has a copy of it. Their meeting is going to be on October, April 23rd. After the fact, this is something that has come up in you know, within the last couple of weeks. They have not had a meeting at that time, but obviously they are completely fine with it. We've been talking about this for 90 days, and this is just the execution of what we've agreed to. And I see no reason why OC will not approve this at their next board meeting.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. What will happen to the conservation district that has their offices in the basement?
They will continue to rent it. And MSD is fine. You know, they're paying a little over, I think, $330 a month rent, and plus a little bit of the utilities. And so the proposal is that basically MSD, when the deal closes, or SEA for now, will step into fiscal court shoes, and that they would remain in the building at this time.
I have another comment, Judge. Given that we're going through this crisis now and people can work from remote locations, I don't see that MSD will ever put anybody in this location. I think they'll handle it all from downtown Louisville, and I don't really believe there'll be anybody in Oldham County.
Mr. Clark, do you?
I would completely disagree with that. All the workers, the host staff, they have offices there, they have computers, everything set up, files, they punch the payroll clock there. And so they have very much presence. They have safety committee meetings there. They're in and out of there multiple times during the day. GIS is done out of the office building there. And so I think what this does is encourages the continuity of that, and also know that the lot next to the building, the lot has issues with parking and the size and shape and sharing with the funeral home, but the land right next to it is available. And there is discussion that, you know, right now OSEA rents some warehouse space to store equipment over on Mattingly Road. And ideally, if they could acquire the lot next to us, they could solve some of the parking spots. They could construct something to protect their equipment and centralize better. So I actually see this as a move to actually increase the presence at the location.
Right.
We'll give
I think Measure Greenwell may have been thinking about clerks but there's a lot of hands-on people that they're going to be able to continue to operate the system out here, and certainly a local location to operate from is going to be more convenient than downtown or something like that, I would think, so. But
Well, given that knowledge, then I think it makes that property even more valuable. And I think it's incumbent upon us as stewards of the voters of Oldham County that we don't give this property or building away.
Well, the circumstance is such is that will even itself out. There are, as part of the deal, it's working out their advantage in the long run here.
Where we're at is we're probably in a position where just the upkeep of this building, the building's old. I don't know how old it is, but I said it was donated to fiscal court in the 50s. And it's an old health department, and it was set up as doctor's offices. And so it has a lot of issues as far as ability to use, plus the 0.74 acre lot. It says 0.74, but it includes to the middle of the roads and whatnot. So the usable lot is very compromised and shared with the funeral home, who is complaining about parking and whatnot. And when they have funerals, they actually park in Osea's lot and take all the parking spots. So there's some issues with the property. And the current cost of fiscal court of maintaining it is exceeding any rent that we collect. And, fiscal court's not in the business of being a landlord and whatnot. And I actually believe it's a very wise move to get out of this liability and free up our maintenance department to work on, assets that are important to the operations of fiscal court versus, doing duct work and whatnot in a building used by the sewer district.
Well, Stan, I agree with what you're talking about, the building being old and that it's hard to keep up and that it's a liability in terms of maintenance and everything like that. But I can't help getting past the fact that it is a lot, a piece of real estate that lies at the intersection of two state highways, and therefore it must have value to it.
Well, the value would be based on what would somebody pay for it. If nobody will pay anything for it, it's not worth anything. And we're losing money on the thing every year. And we're like to give away a lot. If somebody will take a loss off our hands, it seems to me like the right thing to let them take if they would. And like Stan says, if this winds up in MSD's portfolio as a piece of property, then they can sell it if they don't want it, but if they'll stay with it and use it, which we think they will at this point, it'll give a presence and a known location, and the monkey will be off our back, and let them deal with it. But somebody else has, okay.
A few years ago,
first, pardon. Go ahead.
Okay. A few years ago, we tried to explore increasing the rent so that fiscal court could at least break even on this. And at that time, the board of directors said, look, we just acquired some land for the new sewer plant at South Oldham Regional. And they started looking at what they were paying for the warehouse space and rent to us. They said, well, we could go out and mortgage and build a new office and have everything new and not spend any more money than what we're currently paying. So why should we pay more rent? And so the issue is, what is that? Part of our concern is we do the MSD deal and they they close that office and move out of it, then what is the value of the building? What do we do with that building when we're done? So we thought this was a win-win for everybody, a sweetener for the MSD deal, a way to keep them in the county. And at the same time, we focus our maintenance department to Oldham County Fiscal Court items versus maintaining an old building.
Magistrate Harrison hadn't had a chance to speak, and then I was going to go to Tice next. I'm sorry, and then Harrison and like.
That's fine.
Wayne, did you have something you want to say?
Yes, I've got some problems with giving it away. I don't have a problem with selling it to MSD. If we just give it to them without a contractual agreement that they stay and man that office, that, without something, then we hope they stay, but they may not. The other part is the extra piece of property that they're renting other properties somewhere in the county. And, if they're storing stuff, that may not meet planning and zoning right at that intersection, would be a concern of mine, depending on what they're storing, especially if it's pipes and et cetera. If they can go down to, or when we talked to Oldham Sewer, and they said, well, they could just go down to their facility down there at the county line near High Creek, or the new plant down there, then MSD could also do that if that's the case. I'm not sure with the way we are that they need a presence in Oldham County. They've agreed to take care of the sewers, and I'm okay with that. I'm just having a problem. I'm okay with selling it, but giving it away, I get a heartburn with that. I'm through.
Well, I don't think give it away is a term that means different things to different people.
We're not getting money for it, Judge.
Well, yeah, but I'm back to what I said to Steve. Yeah, I'll be glad to sell it to somebody, but you come up with a buyer who has to share who owns only half the driveway, has very little parking space there. It's an oddball building, and we need to get rid of it because it's just, we've had somebody in there that isn't going to be there unless we put somebody in ourselves, like we're trying to do now with this suggestion. We're probably going to wind up with a dead piece of property on our hands here. That's no, attractive location for too much of anything. Although if it came as part of the deal, we think we can, get them to stick and use the thing. But if you want to move the sewer district out and have a vacant building that just sits there, the problem is nobody can go in there. Only half the driveway is owned. I guess the nursing home, not funeral home, and us, we own the driveway together somehow. And, it's just an oddball situation, and just like we did with the railroad depot, we thought for a number of years that, hey, this is costing us a fair amount of money. It's not really part of our mission. We're not, I don't want to say we're giving away a white elephant, but we're trying to get the maximum mileage out of the thing in this circumstance. And I think Stan's looked into this extensively, and we could be left with something that we have a hard time getting anything else in there for. And are we going to maintain an entire building later just to keep the Soil and Conservation District office open? Then we'll really be a loser, because we won't be getting the OSEA rent. And, there's no square way around this block. There's a rough edge everywhere you look, but I personally think the best idea is let's give it to somebody else who has some wherewithal, reason to use it, and not let us get hung with it. Magistrate Hounds.
I think Magistrate Harrison was first.
Okay, sorry, Magistrate Harrison.
It's all right. I'm trying to hide.
No.
I want everybody to be aware of the fact that contrary to Magistrate Greenwell's statement, it's not really sitting at the intersection of two state highways. You've got one legitimate state highway and Highway 146. Dawkins Road is a county road in sorry condition that was given over to the state only from there to Sue Bennett Lane in exchange for them to get approval for Luther Luck correction years ago. And the state committed to maintaining that portion of Dawkins Road, and they've got a different definition of maintenance than I do. The alignment of the two roads there at the intersection is horrible. It will not meet anybody's safety standard. And you're coming into a state highway on 146. It's in a curve and going over a vertical curve as you go to the west and a reverse curve to your left. I mean, it's a hazard just where it is. I don't think the property has any value. I'm not an appraiser, but I'd be amazed at what somebody would value it, especially with the entrance being only half of what's there. You cannot come out Dawkins Road and turn right and get into that property. You have to go up to the farther entrance to the funeral home and come back through it to get there. And I've sat there and watched trucks try to make that turn, both coming and going, and it's a nightmare. So I agree with the judge. I think if we can find somebody that will take it, more power to them. Thank you.
Measured Hounds.
So if memory serves, the building is about 3,000 square feet, give or take a couple hundred square feet. I know that the building committee, when Magistrate Tice was on there back years or so ago, we said that this was a building.
Can you speak a little more closer to your phone?
Okay, sorry. Is that better?
Yes.
I know the building committee looked at this building when we walked the buildings over a year and a half ago, and we had said that this was one of the buildings that, given the opportunity, that we would dispose of. And when we all started talking about the MSD OSEA relationship, we thought this might be a perfect opportunity. It's 3/4 of an acre. It does have horrible entrance and exit, as Magistrate Harrison said. And from my opinion, the value of the property is the value of the land, not the value of the building. The value of the building, it is in disrepair. We've done a lot of work to it. Building committee, we spent some money doing some mold remediation and other things to the building. Whoever were to buy the building, I would say it's probably going to take them, over $100,000, maybe $150,000 to make the building usable for anything much more than what it was already used for. Back in the 70s, when I used to go there, where it was a health department. So, I mean, I'm in support of this. My issue is though, if we're doing this so that we can finish the deal with MSD, okay, great. But how much more are we going to have to do before we get this MSD deal finished?
Stan?
The MSD deal, we're getting near the end of it. Right now, what we're doing is the time-consuming thing and the unresolved issue is title searches of the 200 plus easements. That's one thing about the coronavirus, is that we hard abstract titles to do the title searches and looking at easements at $150 per title. And they thought it was going to take them into July and what passed. And so we had worked into the agreement with MSD that this work would continue past the actual closing go of June 30th. However, they're delivering these results to my front porch right now, and they're doing 10 times the volume that they thought. So I'm thinking by the end of April, we'll have all the title searches and that part of the deal done, which is really one of the last steps in closing this. And so I think we're ahead of schedule. I think this was the big issue that was left. And I'm just going to be upfront here. Our OSEA's GIS system, which is great and adequate and does everything that we need to do, does not fit into MSD's GIS system. And they were getting heartburns about how they were going to integrate that into their system, saying it was going to take them a couple of years and hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff. And at one point, they were asking that fiscal court remain, after we do this deal, remain somewhat liable to making sure that all this worked out, which we do not want and refuse to do. And so through this whole process, those clauses have been removed from the contract. This is a as is. This is what you get. These are the assets you get. You assume the debt, and you take over on effective July 1st. So the deal is moving very well. There are some titles and easements that we have issues with, and I'm currently working with MSD on how to resolve that. So I may have to come back to fiscal court to fix some of the easements. And the main thing is that the people that granted the easement were not actual owners of the property, or the easement was vague at the time that we received the easement. But so far, from what I've seen, we have really no issues, and I will be asking MSD to accept as is, because some of the easements, so far, most of the issues deal with fiscal court. And so they know they can work with fiscal court. So as far as the comment that, what else is going to be asked of us and whatnot, we've got a working contract. It's moving forward. And I do not believe there will be any additional requirements.
Major Tice.
Yeah, in regards to Manager Ham's comment, is I think that property did fit on any of our campuses, so therefore to get rid of it, I agree, but not give it away. I think it's got value. I think we should sell it. My next question would be, have we approached with MSD, would they be interested in buying that from us and keep a presence out here, so that have a place there? So that's a question.
Okay. Just to be upfront, the ideal of them buying the building, I proposed that to Tony Parrott with MSD. They sent a team of 6 people out. They evaluated the building, and they came back and decided that the building had a value at most of $150,000. But at the same time, they were also having heartburn over the titles and easements and some of the work and the GIS system. And at that same time, they were wanting fiscal court basically to, after the deal closed, to commit that we would resolve any future title issues, easements issues that would come up into the future and whatnot. And as part of this, I said, look, fiscal court is unwilling to go forward on the closing of this with an, open, unknown commitment to fix problems. It says you have to take it as is and own it. And anyway, in the discussions, when they made them offer to buy the building, they said, well, we'll give you $150,000, but they wanted fiscal court to escrow it and still be on the hook for at least that amount plus more to cover potential issues with it. And so this is somewhat of what the proposal is that OSEA becomes owner of the asset, and that fiscal court, when we close this deal, we have no future obligation. We have in the contract, we agree to help them with easements and, as far as condemnation or whatever, if needed, because MSD cannot do that in the county, fiscal court has to, but we are not financially committed to do anything. And I think it's very important that that the liability of anything related to sewer at the time of closing goes to MSD and becomes part of their liability, and fiscal court does not have an undefined liability going into the future.
Well, my comment on that would be is if and that's what they're saying, that price, we can sell it for that price. If there's an offer at that, if they see a value there, then I'm prepared to sell it at that price, because we're without the property. They got the property, but we're kind of dealing. Go ahead.
Are you prepared to put fiscal court on the hook 300, 400, 500,000 to fix future easements and issues that may come up with some of the old Goshen utilities and some of the issues, and be open-ended on that?
Well, I think we're almost talking about, it sounds like they're holding us hostage over one, or what I'd prefer to say is we're talking about apples and oranges. We're talking about a building over here and we're talking about other agreements. So I think they both need to be dealt with separately. That's my personal opinion on it.
We would like to have a clean break. No obligations for fiscal court after this, okay? And we can get this done the way we're trying to approach it here. But the fact of the matter is that some of these easements have a very, loosely structured history. It may have been, an easement may have been owned by jointly owned property, and the husband signed the easement and the wife didn't. Well, where's that wife? She maybe divorced 20 years ago or something. There's a lot of weird things that can come out of the woodwork. Let's get to a point where we hand them the package and we're done with it, and not have any. And I think we're getting to that point, but moving the property into the picture is what was basically a trade-off. Stan, is that correct? I mean, you back me up on that, or you have a little
Correct.
different?
No, because right now, the bulk of the easements that have trouble, that I'm going to suggest that nothing's really required, deals with either Oldham County Board of Education or Oldham County Fiscal Court. As it turns out, years ago, when we acquired a sewer easement for school property, they just gave us an easement for the whole, and take Oldham County campus. They just gave us an easement to put sewers on their 150 something acres, and no idea whether they're located or whatnot, and what for. Also, whenever sewers went on any property that was owned by fiscal court, no easement was ever granted. And so the sewer lines that go through Peggy Baker Park and not Peggy Baker, but Wyndham Moore Park and stuff, there's no easement for it, but there's no issue with the fiscal court giving an easement for that. And yes, if you go back to the school board, evidently back in the 70s and stuff, when they built South Oldham campus and the North Oldham campus, the property was donated to the school board, who then donated it to fiscal court so that it could be bonded and the building built, and then it was deeded back to the school board. Well, we have an easement from the Board of Education to the sewer district to put sewers on there, but at the time that easement was signed, fiscal court was actually the ownership of that piece of property. So those are the things that we're straightening out right now, and we can get through them. And we also, it's just an issue of, I don't want, and we don't want as a county to have an open-ended, unknown, whatever easements. We're trying to make this deal as is as possible. And the other thing is, maintaining that building and keeping it up, we should probably have raised rent, yearly for the last several years. We've been basically giving the sewer district a break on rent, knowing that it was exceeding the cost. And the question is, the maintenance and the quality of that building, can you charge enough rent to even break even on the building? And, as far as value to it, I think most people, what is the value of the land? The building, I don't know what you could do with it other than tear it down and try to use that poorly triangular 0.74 acres. So I actually think it's a good way for the county to not have future obligations. It's a way to help OSEA, get this deal and save our sewer customers, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars each year in rates.
Right. I mean, don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish here. And, I should die.
I've heard a lot of different opinions about this, and I'm going to still voice my opinion on a few of them. As far as having a presence in Oldham County, they do have we have the South Oldham plant, and right literally next door to it is a High Creek plant, and they don't run service vehicles out of that plant. And I'm not saying if they do end up buying the environmental authority, if they're going to run them out of our plant on Hit Lane. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to run service vehicles out of Logan Street.
Your audio is not really clear. Can you speak a little closer to your mic?
How about now?
Better.
I don't think that MSD is going to run service vehicles and work crews out of Logan Street, downtown Louisville. If they in fact do buy the environmental authority, they're going to have a presence. Now, is this the place? I don't know. Now, when we started out this conversation was we were going to turn it over to OSEA, and then it's morphed into, well, now MSD is going to get it. We don't know that. But we know one thing, that these documents that MSD is wanting that we hired the abstractor to get, some of them are less than accurate. Now, I've got to believe that all those books over there in the clerk's office, there's got to be a lot of mistakes. I see them in different subdivisions I go into. So I'm not for any kind of an open-ended agreement. If we can offload this property, we just offloaded the train station. And since I've been on court, we've dumped a little bit of money down there, and we didn't tell the city of Grange pays for it. So I'm not exactly sure, I think there's some sort of referendum here about MSD getting it. Well, no, MSD is not getting it. That deal's not cut. We're going to get to the environmental authority. That's who MSD is buying. And if we have to go into the money that, I don't know, Stan, you can answer this question. I think Stan's still there. Who paid for the abstractors on these easements? Did the fiscal court pay it, or did OSEA pay it?
OSEA is paying it, and it's estimated it's going to cost about $35,000 to do it.
Yeah. So we got to remember one thing, that the whole concept of the MSD purchase is to have a relationship like they have in Crestwood, which seems to be very good, and get us out from under these abhorrent rates that people are going to have to pay. And I've mentioned it before, I mentioned it again. I've got people, if this thing falls through, the rates are going to jump exponentially. We all know that. They told us that. Now, I don't know what this building's worth. We've got two real estate people on here. We've got a developer. We've got Albert's expertise. I don't know why this is such a big conversation. Like I said, we just gave away the train station. We had plenty of money dumped in it. So I'm going to support this to move the MS deal forward. It may never happen, but if it doesn't happen, OSEA still has the building, not MSD. That's all I got.
Magistrate Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. I think there's something else that we're forgetting, and we seem to have a tendency to do that. And I believe it's well over a year ago when a motion was made and approved by unanimous vote to authorize and empower Judge Vogel to represent the county in the negotiations with MSD, because we felt like he was in the best position to do it. And it's my understanding that Stan Clark is an extension of Judge Vogel in those negotiations. So now they're coming back to us with a recommendation on what should be a simple approval. And we want to pick it to death without really understanding what's down there or knowing all the negotiations that have preceded today's conversation. Now I think it's time for us to move on, turn the page, and go along with what we said over a year ago we were going to do. We authorized Judge Vogel to be our voice for the county. He's making a recommendation. I think we should approve it.
Magistrate Logston.
Yes, sir. I'm agreeing with Albert here. We just gave away the train depot to LaGrange. This piece of property, the building committee went through it, I don't know, a year ago, and it has tons of issues with it. It's going to take a lot of money to fix it up. It's a landlocked piece of property. You can't come out on the what Albert says is a semi-state road because it's too close to the intersection. You have to go through another piece of property to get to it. My vote is yes, and I think we should just go ahead and vote on this right now.
Magistrate Hawkins.
I agree with Magistrate Tice in that I'd like to see a contractual agreement that the employees will be kept. They'd be kept in the building.
So this is way off. We can't get into that. Yeah, we've got an agreement with these people, and we can't put strings on what you're going to do if you get it and all that.
Well, you have to remember,
we're way past that point.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm talking about regarding this building and just giving it to the Oldham County Environmental Authority.
Okay, we have no employees. Viola is the employees. MSD is continuing the Viola contract and their presence there at this time. And they, obviously, MSD is going to need people to work this, and the best people to work Oldham County are the ones that have been doing it for the last 12 years. But OSEA has no employees.
Currently, MSD is not obligated to keep Veolia's employees.
Judge, I differ with that.
Pardon?
I'd beg to differ with that. I asked that question specifically of Mr. Parrott when he made the initial presentation out here, and without hesitation or reservation, he directly replied that they would make every effort to keep every employee they've got.
But that's not contractual.
It is for me.
I remember the same thing that Magistrate Harrison is saying. I don't think we can tie them to what you're asking for, Magistrate Hawkins. I think that's overreaching.
Okay, we've had a pretty good discussion on this. I think we aired it out pretty well, our opinions here. So moved and seconded that we transfer the OSEA building to the Oldham County Environmental District. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I think pardon?
Do a roll call.
Roll call.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. I think it was 5-3, but we'll see what we came up with here.
Okay. Magistrate Helms,
Yes.
Magistrate Greenwell,
No.
Magistrate Tice,
I have a little bit of heartburn, but I think what Albert said did make sense, that we gave the judge the authority to do that. So I'm going to vote okay for it.
Magistrate Likens,
Yes.
Magistrate Harrison,
Yes.
Magistrate Hawkins,
Yes. I mean, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking about something else. I think we gave him the authority to work with MSD, but this contract is with OSEA. So that last vote, I was processing that. My vote is no.
Magistrate Dye,
Yes.
Magistrate Logston,
Yes.
Judge Vogel,
Yes.
7 yes.
7
no.
yes and 2 no. All right, motion carries. Thank you. And I won't belabor the point, but Stan Clark has worked hundreds of hours on it was told that I was given the authority, but Stan has acted as an extension. I've talked to Mr. Parrott. I've talked to other people there, but Stan Clark is the person who carried the ball on this and has done an excellent job. And so I appreciate that very much. Magistrate Harris.
Yes, I just want to add to that. And for those of you who don't really understand how MSD operates or how big they are, when Stan Clark talks to them from his office or when he goes down there to meet with them, it's not a one-on-one meeting. He's meeting with an entire staff at times of accountants, attorneys, and engineers, vastly outnumbered every time he goes down there. So I applaud him for his efforts and for getting us to the point that we are now. And I hope we can go ahead and soon finalize all of this. Thank you, Stan.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda here is the erosion control bond release for the Gardens of Hunter's Ridge. And you have that in front of you here. And that's to release a $10,000 bond as recommended by our county attorney, Mr. Silliman. And is there a motion we do that? Magistrate Tice.
I make the motion, we do that.
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion on that? Jim is online here.
Other than county engineer, not county attorney.
Right. Right. All right. I think it's going to be pretty clear cut. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item is another bond release. This one for Grand Oaks Section 3. It is $25,000. Jim is recommending that one be released.
That's correct.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Judge.
Second.
Any discussion, questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Or anyone opposed? I didn't hear any opposition. Okay, we've got the next item on our agenda here is a board action to accept the resignation of Megan Engel at dispatch, effective March 17th.
I'll make that motion, Judge, reluctantly.
Second.
Second, all right, moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Can we have a,
Aye.
wait, no discussion? May we
Okay,
have discussion?
Sure.
I've got a question for Tina, as our HR person. Did she complete the contract that you're supposed to complete after going through training before resigning? You're muted, Tina.
She's been with us longer than that.
Okay, thank you.
I believe she's left to continue her education in another field, and we wish Megan the best of fortunes in the future and thank her for working with us. She did a good job while she was at dispatch. And she may actually has agreed to come back on a part-time basis as needed if we have run into problems with illness down there and the COVID-19 situation. Where I might relate to the community and the magistrates that we had no one on the fiscal court at this point to have a positive reaction to the COVID virus. We've had several people get the flu or pneumonia or different things have come up, and we've been worried about it, but their tests have turned out to be non-COVID. That's as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. So I don't know, if anything subsequently has come in, but several people have had different illnesses. So we're working in some places with a reduced staff, trying to make everything go as far as we can. Ironically, even though we're closed as a building, the majority of our employees are actually on the job somewhere. Police department's working, animal control is working. These are outside jobs. Maintenance is working. Engineering is doing inspections and so forth. The building inspection group is out talking one-on-one. We're trying to help the construction activity in our community keep moving forward and not come to a halt because of something that is dependent on us to approve. And we also have all of our managers and directors are all on Zoom many times. We're all interacting. Melissa has been worked home. We've got to keep the bills paid and the money flowing. And she's been doing that from home and has also been in the buildings today. So our presence here is minimum, but our effort is still certainly, I'd say significantly the same as it had been in the past. The county clerk's office is also open. They are taking information through the telephone and fax and drop box at the front door. People can leave material there and they'll mail it back to them. The county attorney's office is also functioning through to collect the child payment and other necessities, other pieces of things that go on there. So we're hanging on.
Good recommendation.
And doing the best we can. Magistrate Harrison.
I may have dozed off. Did we end up voting on Megan? We got interrupted and then don't know if we actually voted.
No, I don't think so.
Did we vote, Tina? Probably didn't.
Oh, we did.
How short can our memory get? I think we did. I think everybody voted in favor of.
We had a motion and a second, then Stephanie had a question, and I think we got sidetracked.
Yeah, Judge, I think Albert's right on that.
Okay.
I think
All in
so.
favor of accepting her resignation, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? It's kind of hard on a resignation not to accept it. You can't take away your free will, I guess. But all right, let's go through our group here now, and we've been at this for 2 hours, 20 minutes or so, and I think we've had a very successful meeting. It's been interesting for us, certainly, and hope for people who may be watching on our cable channel or Facebook Live. Don't know exactly how many people are out there, but happy to have everyone who's interested in viewing this today. So I'm going to start here up on the top left corner of my screen. Ask Magistrate Greenwell, do you have anything you'd like? Whoops.
Excuse me, we got one unfinished item. County engineer is prepared to talk about the bids on the paving.
Yes.
You are? Okay. All right.
Yes.
There you are. Go ahead. Thank you.
Fiscal Court, I do recommend the Fiscal Court make a motion to award the 2020 spring Oldham County paving project to the low responsible bidder, Libs Paving. Their bid was in the amount of $269,451.59.
Judge, I would like to make that motion.
Second.
All right. We award the motion is we award the county paving projects to Libs Paving, that is, for $269,451.59. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
That's the most bids we've got.
Of course, the Crestwood or Pee Wee Valley or LaGrange work. So
I think that's the most bids, Judge, we've gotten, isn't it, for paving contracts?
I think the numbers look good.
That's the most competitive bidding I've seen since I've been here in almost 2 years now. So
Most I've seen since I've been here. How about you, Greenwell?
I think we had 8 bidders, and that is the most number of bidders that we've had.
All right, now we'll go back and Steve, do you have anything you'd like to say here before the meeting ends?
Just would like to encourage everybody in Oldham County to keep their chin up, and we will get through this, as the governor says, every day. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to the food service workers and the bus drivers and monitors that are delivering meals every day. Yes, I am one of those people, but I'm not blowing my own horn here. I just personally think I'm along for my looks. But anyway, those people go out and hand meals off to people every day, and there is some inherent risk there, and I just applaud them for doing that.
Thank you, and thank you, and the other bus drivers as well. I'm not exactly sure how many meals are being given out every day. I know the school system runs several hundred, correct?
That is correct. It's probably getting close to 1,000 a day. We personally, on my bus, deliver 40 meals every day, and it's growing.
Well, and we have other agencies and organizations in the community. Tri-County Community Action Agency, our senior center, has been giving out frozen meals and freshly made meals that were put together by the Ashburn Farms and then assembled later. Ashburn Farms agreed to commit to 400 meals twice a week, and that's been a tremendous help. So it's really great that everyone in our community is stepping up to do what they need to do to help less able or less fortunate individuals. Measure Likens.
I feel like I've been a contestant on Hollywood Squares. But nothing. Thank you, Judge.
Well, you kind of look like Charlie Weaver there a little bit. I said a little
Thank
bit.
you. Should I say thank you?
Magistrate House.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Couple of things. Everybody stay safe and listen to the Oldham County Health Department, the CDC, and try to follow the recommendations that they have. Judge, you mentioned it earlier, but we've had a lot of Oldham County companies and individuals step up. Artisan Distilleries comes to mind. They've given everybody all emergency services, I believe, even county government, police, fire, and EMS, almost as much alcohol as you can get in a 5-gallon buckets to make hand sanitizer with. That's been huge. I understand too now that Walker Fabrics and Crestwood has really stepped up. They're providing people with kits to make masks. You make the mask and you return them back to Walker Fabrics, and then they are distributing them out to first responders into the hospital. That's huge. Shout out to the restaurants in Oldham County. I probably eat out as much as I did before, trying to support local businesses, and I've had some great meals in Oldham County. And I encourage people to try venues. If you may try a different restaurant, I've tried 2 different restaurants, and I'll be going back during this and after this is over. Next week is Telecommunications Week. We have a fine group of dispatchers at OCD, Oldham County Central Dispatch, and it's unfortunate we probably won't be able to give them the gratitude that they deserve next week because of everything that's going on with the virus. But hopefully we can maybe pick another week later in the year when all this has died down and express our gratitude to them. I just hope the rest of the magistrates stay safe, and if anybody needs anything, don't hesitate to call and ask.
Thank you. Magistrate Dye.
I'd like to thank the first responders, police, EMS, fire, the correction officers, and all the other groups have been talked about. The other thing is when you do get your check, your $1,200 check, for those that will get one, try to put some of that aside and spend it somewhere in Oldham County.
Thank you. Good idea. Magistrate L. Harrison.
Oh, thank you, Judge. The only report I've got is the dock at Westport is still underwater. Looks like it's going to be there for a while. The military day coming up between now and our next meeting is next Tuesday. It's the Air Force Reserve birthday. And tagging along with everybody else's comments and feelings on the COVID-19, check on your friends, check on your neighbors. If you got elderly people in the neighborhood, especially check on them and see if they need anything and you can help out. Thank you.
Thank you. Magistrate Hawkins.
I've been fielding some comments, good and bad, from our regarding our trash pickup, and I just wanted to encourage anybody to continue to reach out to me, and I'll try to take care of, between Becky and I, Becky, the solid waste coordinator, try to take care of everybody individually. And but I just want people to know that I'm listening, and I'm trying to help you and work it out. And secondly, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy and safe Easter this weekend.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Tice.
Yes, to go back to what Magistrate Greenwell said, is keep our heads up, but we also need to keep our social distancing, stay our 6 foot. Don't, we're very friendly people, and we don't feel comfortable without talking close to somebody. So we have to resist that and stay away. Some of the groups, and I'm a religious person myself, but I can't understand what the churches are thinking and the other people that are getting too close to either. It's a proven fact that staying the distance saves and will help get rid of this virus quickly. We shouldn't have to punish anybody. They ought to just think about it and do it for mankind as well as the rest of us. That's it.
Thank you. Magistrate Logston.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I just want to thank all the first responders, all the police officers, fire department people, ambulance, everybody who's nurses, doctors are on the front line, taking care of this virus for everyone. Second of all, I think we ought to have a moment of silence for Sheila's dad when we end this meeting. Her dad passed away. And you know, I usually don't get into politics and religion because everybody's has a right to their own opinion. But I heard something on the radio this afternoon where the mayor of New York said, you know, they were seeing some, 700 and something people died yesterday or today, and they were seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. And he said something like, it's not a God thing, it's just people keeping distance doing it. Well, I was a little offended by that because I think there's millions and millions and millions of people around the world who are praying that this virus will go away. So I don't like to put politics in and religion into anything, but I truly believe God has a hand in this and he will take care of it for us. So that's all I have to say.
All right, you mentioned today Tina Schaaf is acting as our fiscal court clerk. Normally Sheila Fair would be here. She's had to be away now because of the passing of her father. So why don't we take a second just to remember Sheila. Thank you. We've all lived, you live long enough, your parents will predecease you, and we all know that it hurts. We've all experienced it at one time or another, or will. You're going to find out here, the fiscal court is going to partner with the United Way, and we're developing a Oldham County COVID-19 relief fund. The relief fund will be to assist the agencies in our county that are providing assistance to less able and less fortunate individuals now. All of them are experiencing difficulty in their service if it's related to COVID-19 because they didn't allocate any money in their budget or didn't have money for what has been thrust upon them to do. I was talking with Brenda Fox just during the weekend. She runs the senior center. They've been running as many as 500 meals a day down there. She's requesting from the Kentuckiana Regional Planning Commission $100,000 for money for food that they think they're going to need. So we're happy to partner with United Way. Fiscal Court is contributing $25,000, United Way contributing $25,000, and the head trust will also contribute to $15,000. So we'll be starting off our fund with the $65,000. That doesn't sound like a lot next to trillions that are coming out of Washington, but when those trillions will get here, how they will get here, and who they will get to whom, all is remaining to be seen, while local people may be in a position where they're able to force to discontinue their service or not do something into a position they may not want to be. So I have had 3 volunteers from the fiscal court, Magistrate Dye, Magistrate Hawkins, and Magistrate Hounds, who will serve as a part of a 6-person board that will allocate where these funds go. There are 3 members from the not human resources, but what am I trying to think of here? You got the mental United Way side of the equation here. And those persons are Gail Cox, who's the chairman of our Oldham County United Way Committee. We also have Teresa Gamsky, from the director from our health department, and Brent Deeves, who is the assistant superintendent for support services at the Board of Education. So we're flying this plane as we build it. And so not all the answers are put together at this point, but we do offer an opportunity for any organization or individual in the community who would like to join hands with us and contribute to this fundraising effort, or add to the money we have. The checks can be made out to the Oldham County COVID-19 Relief Fund and sent to us here at Fiscal Court at 100 West Jefferson Street, in LaGrange. And your money, all of the money will be spent entirely in Oldham County on Oldham County people, Oldham County agencies. So it's not going to be drifting off anywhere else. You'll hear more about it as it goes on, and we look forward to helping people. I want to take just another 30 seconds to thank my staff. We've all learned how to walk a different walk in the last couple of weeks, learning technology that I didn't know this technology existed 3 weeks ago. It's wonderful. It's got us all together and working for our community and sharing ideas with our staff and magistrates and community. I think we'll want to continue this in some point in the future, maybe being on Facebook Live or doing more to communicate. Our staff has done a great job. They've all been up to the occasion. No one has taken a sidestep or tried to duck, and everybody's done extra work. And I thank our directors. I thank our workers themselves for what they have done. Particularly have to thank our producer here and the director, Jay McDowell, and my deputy judge, Kevin Nuss, who has been, I guess, executive producer, for helping us coordinate this first worldwide broadcast of Oldham County Fiscal Court. We didn't know if this would work. We practiced it. It has worked, and we're thankful, and I believe we'll have replays available if people want to wade through everything that was spoken about today. But we made it work. I thank all of you out there. It's, I'm sure, been a little bit unusual to sit in your home and either talk on a computer or a cell phone, but we got the job done. So I thank all of you, and I thank Jay and Kevin for the strong effort that they made to put this all together. So with that, I don't think I have anything else to add today, but
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion's, we're adjourned.